Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We got JC lined up. We'll have Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. Got a lot to talk about today. Gators defeat Sanford as we all anticipated. DJ played extremely well, threw the ball well, and we'll see where it goes from there. But he made some great throws, no doubt about it. But a lot of stuff happened in college football we'll get to, as well as the NFL. JC, you're on the Titan hotline courtesy of Comfort Temp.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, I don't make a big deal out of these FCS scrimmage games, but I think your starter next week is the guy you saw Saturday night. I don't know how Graham Mertz's head is feeling, but I don't think Billy's going to make it. Even if Graham Mertz was ready to go, I think they're going to start Lagway at QB. That's what I think.
Yeah, and again, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think it. Look, I think DJ was outstanding. As I've said on this show 1,000 times, the safest and easiest throws are down the field, and that's what they did with him. And he made one of the best throws I've ever seen in the swamp, and that was the one to Aiden Mizell, which praise the Lord.
Dude, where is that?
We actually played one of our fastest players. My favorite formation the other night, and it was on the touchdown that he threw to Mizell, was we had Trey Wilson, who's a dynamic playmaker, on the outside as the outside receiver to the left, and we stuck Aiden Mizell as the outside receiver to the right. Now you have people that can threaten the defense.
Yeah.
I have no idea why we've played some of these other guys. Nothing against them. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward, but you have to have those guys on the field, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So it was a good win, and again, it was Sanford. I still have defensive concerns. I thought special teams was great as well. Dan will say they go 4 wide receivers. They did not go for 4 wide receivers. Still have not. And we've played 2 years and 2 games and have not lined up with 4 wide receivers yet.
What did you think when it was 14-0 at halftime? What was your thinking there?
Sanford played keep away. And their first couple of drives, we could not slow them down, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot. But look, it's what everybody wanted to see.
It is.
But reality has to set in, people.
It will.
It's Texas A&M. They're not going to have guys just run right by them. Sanford busted several coverages. It's a different athlete coming in here. You take nothing away from what happened. You still have to throw, catch, tackle, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I thought DJ was great. Somebody sent me a text on the Titan Tomorrow text line wanting to know who I thought was a better thrower, him or AR. And I said this past summer that he's way more advanced thrower than Anthony Richardson. They both, in my opinion, take it for what it's worth, whether I know anything or not, they're not accurate intermediate type throwers. They're shot throwers. If that makes sense.
Well, listen, I just, you need some spark. You need some fire. You need something explosive to happen, QB. And I do agree with you. When you get the 2 fastest guys on the team on the outside, it just creates problems. And it could be a
match. Well, it definitely creates problems against DBs of Sanford's caliber.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And that, yes, you're right. The athletes are going to be rolling in Saturday. This is going to be a good test. It's a 4-point spread right now. A&M, so that's not a big deal. That's not a big number. They had a better game as well. Texas A&M did. They looked really bad against Notre Dame, but they played better Saturday, as you would think they would, against the type of team they played. QB, I'm still really pissed right now, though, at Travis Etienne running the ball into the end. I was happy with the Florida game. And you and Scott Carter, break it down all you want. FCS game, whatever. You got Texas A&M. We're going to talk about that. But dude, you are up 17-7. You've got Miami by the ropes. You just drove 96 yards, looked great, and this guy's dropping the ball as he goes into the end zone to make it 24-7 and effectively end the game against the Dolphins. And he dropped it, and it went through the end zone, or they recovered it.
He dropped it, or the fumble was caused?
Yeah, he was trying to cover it up.
Okay.
The guy hit it, but QB, I don't care, man. There is nothing more important than protecting that football.
That's true. But what's interesting about that game is I didn't watch a whole lot of NFL.
I came home. Game.
I came home from golf. I turned the TV on,
man,
and then I saw where Doug Peterson went for it on like his own 25-yard line.
Yeah. Well, listen, they were in control, dude. It was 24-7 if that touchdown is scored. Miami had no answer for their defense, and frankly, as a season ticket holder, I'm appalled. I'm appalled, QB. Absolutely appalled. They had to win that game. They needed that game. Cleveland looks like crap. Watson's running around. Cleveland can't run the football. And obviously, Nick Chubb, their best running back, is not available, so fine. But Dallas is so fast on defense. Jacksonville has the same type of style on defense. They're very fast. But, man, Miami just wore them out. At some point, you can't keep the Dolphins out of the end zone with all that speed they have. And they had the opportunity to finish that game. So I'm just ticked off about that. That got me in a cranky mood as I woke up and remembered that. What else got me in a cranky mood, QB, is that I go 6-9 on the Peachland Dental picks, and you go 9-6.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, and Arkansas, the stupid idiots, Arkansas, they're getting 7.5. They lose by 8 in overtime because they can't hold a lead. But I tell you what, you'll never see me or convince me that this guy, Bobby Petrino, wouldn't do wonders here or anywhere else he goes. Because they had
he's one of the top 5-10 play callers.
600 yards of offense. Yeah, 600 yards of offense on the road for Arkansas. I mean, that or close to it. And that's the kind of thing that, I was thinking, man, that'd be great down here. Watching the way they played offense the other day, but they lost. They lost in overtime. So that bothered me. Auburn bothered me. Alabama bothered me. Kentucky really.
Oh, hang on a second. I have to admit, I was dead wrong on South Carolina. Now, maybe Kentucky is bad. I didn't get to see any of that game. I just kept seeing the score, JC.
Well,
I just want to know, how did Brock Vandergriff, the 5-star from Georgia, play?
Horribly. I mean, South Carolina disguised coverages. They had so much confusion with Kentucky. Kentucky, just look at his stat line, QB. Look at his stat line.
I didn't look. I should have.
It was horrendous. And right now, Kentucky's going to play Georgia this week, and I'm telling you, it's not going to go well for them again. So Alabama looked like crap with their offensive line issues. South Carolina, give them credit, but Auburn is a joke, and California dominated that game. And I'd say right now, if you lined up in the SEC, the top 5 teams, it would not include Alabama. It would be Texas and Georgia. Either one, you can put them on 1 and 1 at 2. You can put them at 1, both. Texas and Georgia. Tennessee clearly is 3. Mississippi is right there. And then I'd have Missouri ahead of Alabama, who would be my 6th team in the league, right in front of LSU. And that's not the standard that I'm a cranky guy today, not a happy guy.
Person Mayak on the Titan of our text line says, I know it was just Sanford, but things just look different with DJ. Throws are on time, stride, and throws a very catchable ball. Getting him as much experience as possible, in my opinion. Put Wilson, Mizell, Hawkins, and Burke on the field together. We can threaten any defense. Yeah. I mean, look, he played well. And I don't want to overstate it. He was not really pressured at all because Sanford – we know what surprised me about Sanford, JC?
Yeah.
Their coach, Chris Hatcher, and I mentioned this on the broadcast.
Okay.
It's air raid offense. He played 2 quarterbacks. How tall do you think they both were?
5'8".
They were both 5'11". I mean, there's 1,000,000 6'2" quarterbacks in America that love to throw the football that you would think that they could get at Sanford.
Yeah.
And then here's the crazy thing that I even said on the broadcast, I said Mike Leach is not a very happy camper up in heaven right now.
Yeah.
We go for it on about right at midfield, right at the end of the half, like 8 seconds to go, 4th and 5 or something. We don't get it. So there's like 6 seconds left in the half, and he takes a knee.
Oh.
Why you don't throw a Hail Mary, I have no idea. So
yeah.
Tony says he's heard that they are working on DJ's statue already. That second Sanford kid looked like he was 5'6". They did. They were the smallest quarterbacks I've ever seen playing a college football game.
That's what I'm saying. They were tiny. Guys, listen, man. I'm glad that Lagway got to play. I'm very happy that some of the guys that you mentioned were out there running around. You must remember this was not a competitive game, nor should it have been. So it was never thought to be a game that Florida would really have to. I don't know what you learn in a game like that, but you got to see players play that you haven't seen. So that's, I suppose, is exciting. But to me, it is nothing more than just an overstated scrimmage game. But this weekend, we're going to learn more. This weekend, we're going to see what real athletes can do against real athletes and guys that deserve to play against each other on the field and not have a practice squad out there against your ones. And that's, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to, piss on the parade here, but there really shouldn't be a parade because this team coming in has a lot different caliber player than what you saw on Saturday night.
Yeah. AU Gator on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, did you make anything about Napier not coming on the field when DJ was hit sliding? I thought Napier should have shown some compassion and argue the call. It was not late at all. It was a bang play, and he's a runner. So I hear what you're saying. A lot of people in the stands thought should have been a penalty, but it was not. It was not a penalty.
Yeah. Well.
So anyway,
I'm drinking.
All right, we're gonna talk more with Scott Carter about the Gator game, but good. JC, your beloved Notre Dame Irish go down.
My beloved, you're right. You saved me some money. I had my ticket to order the hat was about to be put in. May I give Northern Illinois all the credit in the world. That coach showed so much emotion after the game, and he deserves all the credit in the world. Northern Illinois isn't even predicted to win the MAC. They're about, I think, 3 or 4. So they're not even considered one of the top teams in that league. It was a shocking loss. Sad for a good friend of ours whose daughters just started school there because it was her first game. I didn't know. I don't know what you do when a team like that comes in and beats you.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. There's no question.
That's a terrible loss for Marcus Freeman. They almost had Marcus Freeman up there with Art Shell and all the great coaches of the day. He's okay, but they looked bad, dude. They couldn't operate offensively. They looked horrible. I don't know if it was a hangover or what it was, but
it probably was.
And listen, when you can't block South Florida, and when your offensive right tackle is holding on scoring plays, and when they're just running right through the gaps on your offensive line, Alabama has got to figure this is just like last year's game, although there were more points scored. But Milroe was getting harassed by South Florida. What's he going to do when Georgia shows up in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I should say? And then you got Wisconsin rolling up. You got to go to Wisconsin this week. A lot of teams, Mississippi State looked bad against Arizona State, except in the fourth quarter, but it was garbage time. Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Missouri are your top.
That's 5. What I was going to say. I think a lot of people, I didn't get to see any of it, but a lot of people think Tennessee was probably the most impressive of the weekend because NC State was a ranked team. They always play good defense, and Tennessee dropped 50-something on them.
Yes. Nico is very dynamic. He's a hell.
But their rushing game is what got them going. Yeah. They ran for like 270 yards on NC State.
Yeah, that was impressive. But I also think Texas going into Michigan, just calm, very under control, poised. They felt confident going in. They walked out of there with a big number on Michigan, who has a very good defense. And Michigan, you can't. It's just like you can't like FSU. Michigan's in that issue, has that issue where you just can't replace so many good players and they think you're the same team. You're just not. And so that's the problem they have up there. And they'll be okay, but they're not winning the national title. They won't win the Big Ten either.
So I saw this I screenshot it on Twitter because there's already a lot of upsets in FBS right now. Notre Dame losing. Yeah. I think Oregon's not as good as I think people thought. They struggled. They're lucky to win that game. But in the FCS, JC, which is one step down where Sanford plays. Think about this.
Yeah.
Drake was a 34-point underdog to Eastern Michigan. They won the game.
Wait,
Central Connecticut was a 24-point underdog. They beat Fordham 33-3. Charleston Southern was getting 21 points from Furman, beat Furman, and Wofford was getting 18 from Richmond and won the game. So,
well, I mean, that's good to see, isn't it? Don't you like seeing that?
yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, no doubt about it.
FCS is good football, man. It's good. It's good stuff, and it's what kept
Yeah.
us entertained in December in the past. Now we're going to get to watch both divisions play. So it's in December, so that's good. But everybody. I think Nick Saban said on game day, "Watch out for Auburn." Hugh Freeze has got it going. They got athletes out there.
He said that.
Yeah, he did. He said Alabama fans aren't going to be very happy with me, but Auburn with Hugh Freeze is a team you better keep your eye on. Blah blah blah. California ran all up and down. California had just as many athletes on the field as Auburn does, and traveled 3 time zones to beat them, and had to lead basically the entire game. Mississippi State's got issues on defense. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but their offense when they get rolling, man, it's fun to watch.
Fun to watch, and they're gonna have an easier game as they get ready for Florida in 2 weeks. So coming up this weekend. So it's one of those things where I think confidence is a big deal. I think Florida found some this weekend, and I think some teams that needed a boost. South Carolina was defensively, they just shut the door on Kentucky.
I was so shocked.
It was surprising, QB. I mean, South Carolina. And then I was shocked to see all the offense from Arkansas, even though I know who's calling the plays. Their personnel is pretty good. So, those kinds
Well, they brought in their quarterback to transfer from Boise.
Yeah. And then, Oklahoma looked very sluggish, very bad on offense. Jackson Arnold, I thought they'd be better. It's just amazing how things can change from week 1 to week 2, and they will change even more from week 2 to week 3.
All right, let me get some.
And your boy at Colorado.
Well, I was getting ready to bring that up because there's a text here on the Titan Mark text line saying the Fighting Deons are having a rough season, going to be a long year for the Buffalo fans. When will Deion admit that his strategy doesn't work? Look, Deion was a phenomenal player. He cannot coach. I had friends that coached against him in Texas and said it was a mess. I had friends that were involved at Jackson State, said it was a mess. Now, he had better players at that level than a lot of the other teams, but he never won whatever the bowl game is that they play against the MEAC team.
South Carolina State won.
Dude, so I don't – somebody sent a text here wanting to know my thoughts on his son going to the locker room before the game was even over. I didn't get to see it. I heard about it. Some people said he was hurt. Some people said he – do you have any idea, JC?
No, I just know that if his name wasn't Shador Sanders, Deion probably would have been upset with him. Listen, poor Shador had no chance. That is the worst offensive line. That is the worst offensive line in college football. They are.
Well, let me just say this. Let me just say
Shador
this.
had no chance. Nebraska.
Right, but let me just say this. I watched them play North Dakota State. I didn't watch them play this game.
I watched some of
We
it.
both agreed that Nebraska was going to overwhelm that team.
Correct.
Okay? And we know nothing about Nebraska.
Well, okay.
But again, this goes back to coaching, okay? And I say it with the Gators. We struggle offensive line. We can help them.
Mm-hmm.
But at least we try to run the ball. Yeah. Colorado does not want to run the ball because that doesn't put stats on Shadur's stat line. So that's their fault.
It's a bad idea. Yeah.
That's their fault, JC.
It is.
Right?
It is.
That's their fault.
That is their fault. Yeah, I mean, the reviews have been good on him, but no, I think you're right. But still, they're a mess. They've got 1, maybe 2 wins on their record.
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky, that's a terrible.
Andy just said that that he broke his arm. The quarterback broke his arm. I didn't hear that.
I did not hear that. And then, Nebraska, give him credit. This kid Raiola, true freshman, but he's very handed. He doesn't turn the ball over like that Jeff Sims character who always turned it over for Nebraska.
He was brutal.
He was worse than maybe one of the worst I've ever seen. But Nebraska's Matt Rule knows exactly what he's doing.
He's a good college coach.
He is a very good college coach, and that's all you need at Nebraska, QB. You need a good college coach, and I think they found one.
Silverback Concrete builds firm foundation for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. We got JC on the Titan More Highline. We're going to talk more Gators with Scott Carter. Second portion of today's program. Let's go back to the NFL. I went to sleep at halftime last night, but when these West Coast Shanahan clones call plays, my mind starts churning, and I
Yeah.
just love watching them.
Yeah,
It's
you do love it.
crazy how good they are.
They are.
But man, I guess it turned into a heck of a game last night.
So
Your Rams lost, by the way.
Yeah, the Rams had a chance to close out the Lions. They had the ball with a 3-point lead, and Detroit's credit, they stopped them. Now the Rams went something like they were down 17-3. They went ahead 2017. So they scored 17 points rather unanswered. Could have been more. The Rams were in the red zone more. The Rams turned the ball over in the red zone a couple times, I think, at least once. I know it was once. It might have been twice. They went for it on a 4th down instead of kicking a field goal, which would have really helped them in the 4th quarter. They had a chance to get 3 points in the 2nd quarter. They were down 10-3, could have made it 10-6. That 3 points would have come in very handy at the end of the game because it would have forced Detroit to have to score a touchdown when they were only down 3 in the 4th quarter. Instead, Detroit was able to kick a field goal and force overtime, but otherwise they would have had to go in the end zone. You take points in the 1st and 2nd quarter. I still don't understand this. Why these coaches just don't understand that points are how you win the game. And so they didn't take it. And so Sean McVay, I almost call him Sean Payton, who had another miserable day in Seattle. But Sean McVay just got greedy. The Rams were playing with so many guys injured, and it blew my mind. First game of the season, and you've got preseason wrapped up. Nobody even played in the preseason, and you're missing 2 offensive linemen. You're missing a bunch of receivers. Demarcus Robinson played great for the Rams. So did John Johnson. So did all these guys you don't know about. And yet, They had Detroit right there, right in the palm of their hand, and Detroit held them and got the ball back. You knew they were going to kick the field goal, force overtime, and then just ran right down LA's throat in the overtime, scored the touchdown. Game was over. Coin flip won it, and that was the end. And, that's Ram football. And good luck against Arizona this week, and then San Francisco the next week. My team's going to be 0-3, so that's why I'm wearing this Dallas hat.
There you go. Jump on their bandwagon. You know what's interesting is I saw this. That the Titans blow a 17-point lead.
Yeah. Will Levis.
And they only gave up 148 yards of offense to the Bears and lost the game. Will Levis.
So Travis Etienne, Will Levis, these guys lost games for their teams because they turn balls over. And that's how you lose in that league. You turn it over, and you cannot recover from that. Justin Fields was so clueless yesterday in Atlanta, but so was Kirk Cousins. And so the Steelers win 18-10. The Falcons pay $100 billion to this guy Cousins, and he couldn't get him in the end zone. That's not a good look for Atlanta. The Giants are as pathetic as they ever been. Those jerseys they wore yesterday were an absolute patent embarrassment. And how about them Cincinnati Bengals? The big orange. The Patriots have a win-loss number of 4.5. 4.5, the Patriots. And most people are on the under. And here's Mayo, the rookie coach, getting a win for New England, and your guy, Jacoby Brissett, who you have to be happy for Jacoby Brissett. He wins the game, and the Patriots go into Cincinnati and beat the Bengals. They only scored 10 points. Cardinals and Bills up and down the field. Where would Buffalo be without Josh Allen? There's no question about that. He is right there with Mahomes as one of the best, or if not the best in football, because he gets the ball in the damn end zone. And then the Carolina Panthers shouldn't be even playing in the league right now. They are so dysfunctional and out of it. And poor Bryce Young has zero chance to do anything there. Feel bad for him. Harbaugh gets his first win. Seahawks under their new coach get his first win. Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield. Did you watch any of the passes he threw yesterday to Mike Evans?
Let me tell you something. I did get to see that because I was home from golf.
Boy, did he
Liam Cohen, another West Coast, Sean McVay guy.
Loves him.
Their offense looks totally different, and Baker was lights out yesterday.
It was great to see. Great to see for the Buccaneers. They you got to love them in that division. And the Saints looked good, but again, Panthers were horrible. And then Dallas on defense was just smothering. So that's it after week 1. You almost know what's going to happen now. I mean, I know it's the NFL, but some teams are really, really poor, and other teams really have a chance to win games every weekend they play. But Tampa Bay was very impressive, 37 points. And you're right, Baker and Liam are on the sideline having a conversation, and they're loving each other. And it's good to see because I want Tampa and I want Baker to do well. I do.
So you're going to drop your Jacksonville season tickets and get Tampa?
QB, they played well. No, because the Jazz getting that new stadium, I got to get you in there, and you'll be happy with me. But the thing is,
why do I want to go? I could care less.
You might want to see the new stadium, see all your friends like Frank Franchi and all those guys. And
he's in the
Dan
booth. I'll just
Hicken,
go to the booth.
well, you can see Dan Hicken and all your friends. But no, the thing is, Jacksonville actually looked good. They did. But you can't keep Miami. You can't keep giving them chances. And when you bury Miami, you have to do it because they're very explosive, and we all know that. Jacksonville should have won that game. And
Speaking of Miami, we got a text here on the Titan Mark text line from William. Wants to know our thoughts on the Tyreek Hill incident.
Well, it was a little overemphasis. Once again,
look, I don't know what all went on. I just saw the clips.
This is Scotty Scheffler.
That was ridiculous what they did to him.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler Part 2. You got these over anxious and overzealous cops who just want to be big shots, I guess. I mean,
but what I don't understand is
he was speeding.
Okay, they know who he is.
Yes,
he is driving to the game, and one of that car he has is some
that's right
thing that nobody else would have unless you're Tyreek Hill, right?
Imported car, yes, right, yeah.
And then they want to put him face down and hand. I mean, that is nonsense.
Well, and I think that guy's been put on administrative leave, just like the jerk that did that to Scotty Scheffler. Locked him up and threw him in the can for 5 minutes. These guys, they aren't impressing anybody, and that's too bad. But look, Tyreek Hill played a big role in that win yesterday. It didn't seem to affect him at all. The Cheetah is the fastest player in the league. And
no, he's not. No, he's not. The kid from the Chiefs is faster.
You think so?
The true freshman or the rookie.
The true freshman.
Yeah. Worthy's faster than him.
Think he's faster, huh?
Well, he ran faster at the combine, so he's got the all-time record. I don't know. Now, game speed may be different, but he took a sweet reverse the other night and just freaking looked like he hit the – I don't play video games, but everybody talks about hitting the little one button that makes you faster.
He was.
Yeah. All right, while we wait on Scott Carter, here's a text on the Titan MR text line from the 252. I don't know where that is. Says, Shane, did the wide receivers and offensive line and play calling whole team play harder for DJ than Graham? No.
I don't think so.
Again.
You got a different team on the other side.
Yeah, look, I'm taking nothing away from what we did. It was something I said on the radio. One of my keys to the game or storylines is we need to have something to happen for everybody to feel better. It's been a miserable week.
Correct.
Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Sanford's not going to win many games in their league this year.
No.
Now, again, people have texted me. I'm not going to read all these texts, but they're like, well, 4 years ago against Charlotte and against McNeese State, we only threw for this many yards. You can't compare games to games. Look, there's no doubt about it. DJ played outstanding. He threw the ball extremely well. All right. But you have to just say, okay, that was great. We see what DJ can do, what he brings to the table. Will he play this week? I think he plays. Will he start? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know if I was the coach what I would do because I will say this because I had somebody ask me this at the golf course yesterday.
Okay.
How could Billy Napier said that Graham Mertz was a better quarterback than DJ? And I told him, I said, look, they're together. He's been with those guys for like 8 months or 6 or 7 months, however long it's been since DJ's been here. DJ came in January, so about 8 months.
Predictable.
The few practices I went to, there was no comparison. DJ was, and here's the thing, DJ may be like Danny Werfel. He may be a terrible practice player, but when the game comes on, it clicks. Because I'm telling you folks right now, if y'all saw him in practice, you'd be like, whoa, how was he the Gatorade Player of the Year? But it doesn't matter. He performed extremely well. So that's what I'm trying to say is that's what Coach Napier and them saw, that he was thrown into triple coverage off his back foot in practice, or he was one-hopping the flat route, or he's throwing it out of bounds on a go route. But when the lights came on, he was phenomenal the other night. So,
I say, since you all said, I'll just say it. He's going to start Saturday, and
I don't think he will.
Okay. So you say Mertz is going to start? Okay.
I don't have no inside information. Well, I just don't know if he will or not.
I don't either. I'm just telling you what I think, and I think that's what the 80,000 fans are going to want to see. They want
the fans do, JC. But again,
well, listen. He's the future. Listen, there's no question. He is the future.
He is the future. But is he the future? We don't know if Billy and them are going to be here next year.
Well, listen, I think you ride what's going, and if he struggles in the first half, you bring back the kid that has the concussion, Mertz. But I think you let him try, man. I think you let him try at this point. Why wouldn't you? Just tell me why you wouldn't keep him in the game. Again, start him. Just tell me why you wouldn't start him, and then we'll see how he does. You can't know anything until you see it. Again, you don't learn much from that game the other night, but it was good to see. All right, fine.
Right.
You're going to learn a lot more against this team. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, this team we're playing is
and that coach,
they're kind of like us on offense a little bit.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're pretty
salty.
damn good.
They're salty.
Yeah.
And this guy knows what he's doing when he's watching film all week long. He's going to have a game to watch of Lagway, and he already knows who Graham Mertz is. So it's going to be a much tougher test. But to me, you have to do it so you can see what you have, because it's a long season. And what if Lagway lit him up? Think about that.
That would be great.
The entire narrative about Florida football absolutely flips upside down and changes. Now we're talking about 8 wins. Now we're talking about beating Kentucky. Now we're talking about, how that goes, QB. But you got to try. And if you don't try, you won't know. And I don't want to see the same old that I saw in the first week. I want to see this kid.
Well, you're not going to see what you saw the other night, because this is A&M. Right. Okay, let's be honest here.
No, but I'm talking about in the first game. I don't want to see that either. I want to see this kid what he can do running around, putting Texas A&M on their heels. That's the way you play them. That's how you got to be aggressive. How many times have you preached to me over and over again about being aggressive, QB, and not the grammar?
Well, yeah. But again, I want to just say this. As I said, he was outstanding.
Right.
But we knew.
Yes.
But I mean, you could see it on just my visual from the press box.
Yes.
We knew we were going to be able to run right by their DBs.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to run right by A&M's DBs.
No, you're not.
You're not.
Right.
Okay.
100%.
I will just say that.
I agree.
Wild Bill says on YouTube, Lagway doesn't play defense. That's another great point.
Well, that's a great point. And listen, A&M's got offensive issues too, but they hope they figured it out in their little scrimmage game they had. They played nobody the other day. So How good is Connor Wegman, really? So
he's another highly 5-star kid. Played a little bit last year, got hurt.
Yeah.
They have serious offensive problems too.
We're
And,
they've
always been able to rely on a really good running back. I don't even know who their running backs are.
Le'Veon Moss. And he's no joke. He is no joke. The guy can flat out fly. But A&M's got a big offensive line. Look, it's a whole different outfit rolling in. And Florida, this is the kind of team you want your team to play so that you have an idea whether or not this season is going to be worth watching. And that's what I'm talking about. Because there's going to be a lot of Texas A&M looking athletes on the field going forward in this schedule. A lot of them.
Yeah. All right, JC. We'll see you on Wednesday. Go study your picks. I whipped your butt in the Peachland Dental picks, by the way. All right, that's JC. Joins us on the Titan No More Hotline. Take a quick timeout, come back, talk a little more Gators with the senior writer of FloridaGators.com. Our man, Scott Carter. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, Peachland Dental, QC Kinetics, Campus USA Credit Union, Dave & Buster's. Gridiron sponsors, Comfort Temp, UF Bookstores, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogra State Farm, Electronics World, F45. Our touchdown sponsors, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Aikido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Miapa Latin Cafe, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, MG&A Wealth, Nest and Wild.
If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Miapa Latin Cafe. Discover the ultimate Cuban culinary experience at Miapa Latin Cafe with 5 locations in Gainesville and Alachua. You're never far from the best Cuban food north of Miami. This guy right here loves Cuban food. His name is Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. What's up, my man?
I do. I'm a regular at Miapa, big fan, and it looked like the Gators had some coffee before Saturday's game compared to the opener, huh?
There's no question. It was definitely, as I said at the beginning of the broadcast, one of my points of the game or storylines or keys or whatever you want to say. Let's go have fun. Everybody at the game and not listening on the radio needs to have fun because it's been a miserable week. Obviously, it was a better feeling in the locker room afterwards, Scott. We know DJ played outstanding. Besides DJ, did anything else stand out to you?
Well, I'll start with just the energy. I mean, we know it was much better. That's why I kind of alluded to the coffee because,
right,
they did come out with a little more fire and play with some passion. And, with everything that was said last week, that was one of the ones that was probably repeated the most. Like, where's the passion? And I saw some former players talk about it. I saw a lot of fans talk about it. Saw a lot of media talk about it. So it was good to see that. But otherwise, Shane, I just thought, the defense got a lot of new faces in there. For the most part, they showed up a lot more, got some pressure. And again, we know that the opponent is not Miami caliber or even SEC caliber, but at least they went out there and did what they were supposed to do against an inferior opponent. And quite frankly, there's been times where they probably haven't done that as much as they should in recent history. So they did what they had to do is the best thing I could say.
Yeah. In my opinion, Scott, and I don't know if you have the answer to this or if maybe you want to ask this question to Billy in one of the pressers is, DJ played great. We all know that. But what I got excited about, and I probably talked too much about it on the broadcast, was on the one throw to Aiden Mizell, which I think could be one of the better throws I've ever seen in the swamp. And his throwing motion is so weird how he throws off his front foot and jumps. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. We had Aiden Mizell split out wide to the right, and we had Trey Wilson split out wide to the left. Okay. That excites me because now you have guys that you can throw the ball on a slant, a hitch, or a double move, which that was a double move that Aiden Mizell ran, that can run by people or make people miss. We just haven't seen Mizell play. We got to see Tank Hawkins. Honestly, Tank Hawkins just outran the coverage, and DJ laid it over their heads. But that's how you get explosive plays. Put the fast dudes in the game. We have not been doing that. And my question is why?
Yeah, I mean it's a good question. They did do some things differently on Saturday, and I think DJ certainly reaped the benefits, and I give him a lot of credit because, I'll be honest with you, he was throwing the ball better than I'd ever seen him at any practice or scrimmage, and it looked different than anything I'd seen from him. So that's very promising. And then I think you're right. You got to get your playmakers on the field and let them do their thing. And it just all kind of worked together nicely on Saturday. And I will be curious to see if we see some of that going forward. I mean, there's a whole nother added element to this whole storyline now with DJ's play, some of the different things they did offensively. Obviously now with Graham probably going to be cleared and coming back this week. So it's a new wrinkle in the story. I don't know how it's going to shake out, but it's making this season very intriguing week to week. So I'll be curious to see how Billy does respond to some of the questions today and to get a better understanding of what exactly they're thinking as they go forward. Will both guys play? Will DJ's role be more than we expected? There's just a lot of questions, Shane.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up because I mentioned it to JC because we had a text. I probably should have saved that text from when you came on because we're just going to talk Gators. We talked other stuff, but somebody asked me a question. I can't remember. I've already deleted the text. It was about how can, after 7 to 8 months of having Napier having both DJ and Graham, how could he start Graham over DJ? And what I said, Scott, exactly what you just stated. If you went to practice and watched the throws that he made in practice, now he'd make a good throw here or there, but then there's
Yeah.
7 throws that you go, what in the world is he doing? So I
Mhm.
stated maybe he's Danny. Danny was terrible in practice and plays great when the lights come on. But would you agree with that? The times that you have seen DJ in practice, he did not beat out Graham Mertz.
No, not at all. I was like kind of thinking, well, he's got talent. You can obviously see the physical ability, the speed, the strong arm, but he's got a lot of development ahead of him. That was my kind of take on DJ through camp. And yet he comes out there on Saturday, and I think by the third pass of the game, I thought, wow, he's already made 3 really nice throws, more than I saw all through camp. And I don't watch every single practice or anything like that, but I did see the scrimmages. I saw some practices, and I just thought, okay, he's a freshman quarterback. It's going to take him a little time to figure things out. But I mean, he threw the ball really nicely, hit those downfield throws. And, you say the throw to Mizell, I agree with you, as instantly as he said it, or as instantly as he threw it, I'm like, whoa, that is a throw. You don't see, not many guys are going to make that throw, period. So it is just a interesting, I guess, dynamic around DJ, because he certainly represents himself very well. And now I can see why, fans are so high on him, and also why, he was the number 1 rated quarterback in the Gatorade National Player of the Year. He showed some things that proves he's worthy of that. But now we'll see where it goes from here, because as you know, there's no story in football as interesting as the backup quarterback doing really well. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, it's he's a very mature kid for his age too.
He is.
Yeah, he speaks well.
Thought he did really well after the post game.
Yeah, I agree 1000% with that. This text on the Titan More text line said that was the first win in 329 days. Crazy to say that. Well, we need to win one next week so we can beat a FBS opponent. That it's been a long time since so the last time we beat an FBS opponent would have been South Carolina, right?
That is correct. Yes, that was the last win of any kind until Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Josh says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, do you think Billy was calling plays? His comment and presser after the game about play calling was interesting. It's interesting you asked that, Josh, because I have another text here on the Titan MR text line from Jonathan. He said that he has a buddy who told him that Russ Callaway called the plays against Miami, and that Billy had stated this week that he would call the plays. I don't know. I don't go to meetings or get into that kind of information. Scott, do you got anything to chime in on that?
No, I mean, it seems like a little play call gate going on here. I mean, it's like a big thing now with the fans. I mean, Billy's used the word "we" clearly after the game the other day, and I think that's how it usually works. I mean, I've always said Billy, I mean, it's his final call on whatever the plays are. I mean, if he wants to change a play before they snap it, it's his call. But generally, it is a team effort during a game especially when you have co-coordinators. So I don't know if he'll address that again today, but I don't think he's going to break down like what plays he called, what plays Russ called, who influenced this decision or that decision. I don't think we're ever going to get him to, break it down like that.
Yeah, Mark's question on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Is Mertz out of protocol?
He was supposed to be. He's got to clear one final hurdle, football activities. I don't know if he did that yesterday or if he'll do that today. So, again, we should find out that answer this afternoon when Billy talks.
Defensively, obviously, a lot of guys were out, played some other people. Scott, through 2 games, the 2 people, maybe 3 players that have stood out in my mind defensively that have flashed and I think have played really well. I think both linebackers, Shamar James and Pup Howard, have made plays. I think Jason Marshall Jr. has played really, really well. Nobody wants to throw his way. We'll see what A&M tries to do. He forced a turnover there on the first drive against Sanford. Anything stand out to you? And do we expect the guys that are hurt to be ready to go this week?
Yeah, as far as standing out, I mean, Jason Marshall Jr. has, played well so far. I think he's showing a little bit more, I guess, desire to get physical. He got the penalty where he threw the guy down the other day, which I don't know if that's just in the moment. But he also forced that fumble, so I like to see that physical play from him. And as far as the injured guys, I mean, these who are Devin Moore, it's kind of a week-to-week thing. You had Denson, you had Thorne. I don't know how serious those are. I mean, I saw them both on the sideline with braces on their different knees. So we'll just have to see. They were also, who else were they with that? They were out Joyce Slackman. So you got some guys banged up. You're getting some guys who obviously Aaron Gates, George Gums Jr., new guys getting in there. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, Shane, to get these guys experience and to test them out early, because I think where the roster is and the competition is, I mean, I don't know if there's any jobs that are certainly locked down other than maybe Marshall and Shamar James. So I like to see the competition.
Yeah. John's question on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, or comment, says, after we get drilled in an SEC game, Billy should be fired and ask Spurrier to coach the team until the end of the season like Stoops did at Oklahoma. Okay, I'm going to chime in on that. There's a huge difference between what happened when Lincoln Riley left to go to USC. Is all those people on the staff were Bob Stoops' people, and Stoops was kind of just the figurehead, but Stoops also knew their terminology because it was all his stuff. Coach Spurrier could walk in the building today and they would have to change everything because he wouldn't know any of it. So I hear what people are saying, but you just can't do that. It's just like people keep asking me, why can't Coach Spurrier go help them? Because Coach Spurrier's philosophy and terminology is different than what they run now. You'd have to teach a whole nother thing, and you can't learn that in like 2 or 3 days. So,
yeah, man, that's not going to happen. It's wishful thinking, but it's just not the way the game's set up today.
Yeah, it can't happen at all. I meant to ask you, Montrell, do you think he's 100% right now, Scott?
I don't know. He's playing well. I mean, if he's not 100%, he's certainly close. But I don't know. I think whenever you have an injury like that, you have to have surgery. I don't care what kind of surgery you have. It usually takes more than a few weeks to feel back to normal. But he's young. He's strong. Seems to be playing well, but I think he needs to be healthy for this game coming up, because I think he needs to probably be a large piece of the offense. I think they're going to need to run the ball some, and Texas A&M has not exactly stopped the run so far. So Montrell Johnson, the better he can be on Saturday, the better chance the Gators have, in my opinion.
Dan says, isn't there a mandatory injury list for the SEC games this year? Yeah, I think you have to report stuff on Wednesday, Thursday, and then a final one on Friday. So it's going to be a lot like the NFL coming up.
It starts this week officially for the Gators, because the first 2 weeks they haven't had to do that out of conference. But starting this week, we'll get the official injury report and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, Earl says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, there are plays that DJ made that if you ask yourself if that was Mertz, he is not making that play. Yes and no. Mertz, nobody that we've had probably other than Anthony could have made the throw to Mizell. The other ones were really good deep balls, just drop shots. I think majority of us quarterbacks could have made that. The key was separation. Separation helps you complete balls, and we separated against Sanford. We need to see separation against the Aggies for sure. Kyle wants to know, who would I start? I don't see them every day. I mean, there's things that I love that DG does. There's things that Mertz does that I like. I also take into account that A&M it's a different animal we're facing this week. But I don't take away anything that he did against Sanford because you still have to throw and catch and make plays. So I'm gonna let the people making $8 to $9 million make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's why they are where they are, and again, you always, whenever these kind of stories pop up or situations pop up, you never like to see a guy lose his job just because of injury, and I'm talking about Graham Mertz here. And Graham's been nothing but a class act since he got here, and I think he's done some good things for the Gators. Now DJ comes in and shines and against an opponent that is, not an SEC team, and I think it's a win-win situation in some ways for him, obviously, because he got that experience. The Gators got to win. If they go back to Graham on Saturday, which I expect, and it doesn't go well to start, and then DJ comes in and kind of repeats his performance, then I think the whole dynamic has truly changed.
Correct.
At this point, I think right now it's still probably Graham's job, and see what he does, on Saturday against Texas A&M, and just see where it goes from there. So that's just how I've seen it play out so many times. And also, like I said, I think Graham has earned the opportunity at least to go out there and try to see what he can do. And maybe they'll do some of the different kind of play calling and play some of the guys that we saw against Sanford that did get that separation you're talking about, because I think whatever they did with Graham against Miami was not working. So hopefully we'll see some differences there with him.
Yeah. This text says, Shane, do you think A&M's coach would rather see Mertz starting or Lagway? I mean, I think Elko, if they do a lot of exotic stuff on defense, would want Lagway starting to confuse him. I don't think they really care. They're going to be very sound on defense because that's what their head coach does. He's a good football coach. JR says on YouTube, Emory Jones threw for that many yards against Sanford. We saw how that ended. Need to see it against SEC competition. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Scott. One last text when we get you out of here. Any news? This comes from Jonathan up in St. Augustine. He wants to know any news on all the chaos that happened on campus this weekend about the parking / tailgate.
I mean, that was a strange one for me because I was unaware of anything different before Saturday morning, and then I started seeing it on Twitter, and I mean, it caused quite an uproar. And evidently, they had blocked off a lot of the grass areas along Museum Road and other places on campus where people typically tailgate. And I guess, obviously people are showing up where they normally tailgate for years. And, hey, they're blocked off. They can't get there. So it upset a lot of people. I guess they did take all the ropes down, and people ended up parking where they normally do. So I haven't heard anything about that being permanent. But, again, I had heard nothing beforehand either. I do know that UAA was, I think, working with campus officials to clarify it on Saturday. So I don't know. I really don't know how that all played out. So I'm sure more information will come out this week and what it's going to look like in the future. But hopefully it won't look like it did last Saturday, because it was a mess. And I don't know. It just seems like a lack of communication there somewhere.
All right, last thing here. This is funny. Obviously, RW didn't watch the game. He says, who is the third string quarterback? Well, the third string quarterback for this week was Aiden Warner, who is from Winter Park, Florida, who's a transfer from Yale, who actually scored a touchdown on zone read. So, RW, you got to watch the game. If you're a true fan, RW, watch the entire football game. Just joking. Just joking. All right, Scott, good stuff as always. Should be a fun night. See you in the press box, my friend.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Going to see some familiar faces. Scooby Williams, Jaden Hill playing for A&M now. John Spencer, Jay Bateman coaching over there. So just add some other intrigue to this matchup.
This is the DJ Lagway Bowl, isn't it? DJ, he was going to flip to A&M, and then we wrote a little bit more money in the check, I guess. I don't know how that works.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Good.
it's definitely.
Yeah. All right, Scott. Appreciate
I
it, buddy.
just
Have a good
remember
weekend.
last time. See you, buddy.
Yep, that's Scott Carter. Join us on the Titan More hotline at Electronics World, integration and design specialist for smart home automation and entertainment. Affordable local installation service and support, electronicsworld.net. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Have a great weekend. We got a lot to talk about as the week unfolds. Enjoy the Monday night game tonight. Take care.